Okay, everyone, this is my next video installment. This is the Singer 15 from 1906. I'm making a series of videos on how I'm approaching the restoration, and this is not so much a how-to restore machine. There's a lot of practice that you want to go through, and I encourage any of you who are interested to take your shot at it. It's not hard. I'm just making these videos to share with some of you that may be interested, some of the hints, things I've learned in the 8 years I've been doing it, and things to sort of look for, things that might be confounding at first, and a lot of times you'll realize they're fairly intuitive if you pay attention to the machine. Anyway, today I've got really beautiful light out here, and I'm going to focus. I think I may have told you guys, I tend to focus on areas of a machine. So the last video I did, I was actually taking apart the bobbin case, the shuttle, and the race, taking that all apart, cleaning it. That's really not something that those of you who sew will need to do on any regular basis. Remember, a lot of the things I'm doing to this machine either have not been done since it was built, or it was done so long ago and it's overdue. Remember that these are machines. They are all metal. They are heirloom quality. They were built to last. But many of us have forgotten, or some of us, if we're young enough, we don't even remember the fact that machines require service. When you have something that's disposable, made of plastic, it doesn't really have a lot of service needs generally because you just use it until it stops working. But again, this is the Singer 15 circa 1906. And this machine is not worn out. It's just overdue. It needs to be serviced. It needs to be maintained. And it's going to be ready to go. I can already tell that it's really wanting to do some sewing here. But I'm going to give it the maintenance that it needs and deserves so that it will perform optimally and pretty much like it did when it was new. Shocking as that may sound. Now, for those of you who are new to machines, you will notice that this is, of course, again, as I mentioned in I think my first video, the way you know a Singer 15 or one of its copies is that the tension assembly, there are two discs here that come together and the thread is going to be passing through them. There's a spring that the thread also catches. It's called the check spring. It's part of the tensioning of the thread. And the Singer 15s, of course, they have their tension assembly facing the side instead of on the front. You're actually looking at the back of the machine right now. The reason you don't see a motor is that this machine did not have one. It came out of a treadle machine. But of course, later, Singer would introduce retro kits so people could take their old treadle machines and they could electrify them with electric motors. And then, of course, when they continued building this model for so many years, they would often include electric motors. But anyway, the tension assembly up top is essentially a way to control how much tension or drag is on your upper thread. Now, most of you who've seen tension assemblies, and certainly in the vintage period, they pretty much look like these little cylinders. There are two discs. They look like coins, but they're really machined steel discs. On the other side of the disc is a spring. And then I have this little set screw, and I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so you folks can get a better view of what I'm talking about. Here we go. This might be a little easier for you to see. So here's the little set screw, and this is what you use to adjust your thread tension. And in later tension assemblies, of course, there's a dial. There we go. There's a number dial, right? And there's a stop point, and you can set the number. Well, the older machines, when you go way back, it was just by feel. You didn't get the number dial. So this tension assembly is a little simpler than the later ones, but they all work on the same principle. You turn the set screw to either increase the tension or you turn it to the left to loosen the tension. Now, there's something else here. And I'll cover threading the machine later. That's a different video. But I want to go back and show you how this basically works. And the great thing about the old machines is you can literally see a lot of the parts that, here we go, you can literally see, I'm going to get in even a little bit closer here. So here you can see the discs. You adjust it here. Now when the take-up arm is moved up, This is when the discs are pushed back, so they're looser, because there's a pin inside the tension assembly. Think of this as a cylinder or a barrel with a pin in it. Pin, it looks like a little nail, but it's really a pin, and it slides this way. It goes like this. So when the arm comes up, the pin is pushed outward, and it takes the tension off the discs. One thing to remember, anytime you're threading a machine, you always want to thread it with the foot, this take-up arm. I said take-up arm, excuse me, I misspoke, guys, it's not a take-up arm. The lever, it's the presser foot lever, which is this here. When that comes up, the tension comes off your discs. That is when you want to thread the machine, okay? If you thread the machine when the foot is down, and this little pin is supposed to pop out, and it didn't, that's because it's old and stuck, and I'm going to show you guys why I'm going to take this apart. So, if you thread the machine with the foot down, this pin comes back, and then the pressure gets back on the discs, and that can throw your thread tension off. Sometimes you can get away with it, but not often. So you always want to have this up. Now, if I put my finger over here, you may notice this little pin. Now, when I put that down, the pin popped out, came back like it was supposed to, but sometimes it's not. It's sticking. If that pin sticks, it can also impact your thread tension. What's so amazing about this unit is that it's my guess, I'm pretty sure about this, it's not broken. It just is full of old oil, old dust, and it almost acts like a glue. It's amazing the thing even works the way it does, as good as it does. But I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to clean it. I am going to, and the little screw that allows me to do that is sitting right here, because this particular one is held onto the faceplate, but that barrel inside is going to eventually, as soon as I loosen this, it should slide out. It may take some prying, but I'm going to slide that out, and I'm going to clean it. And I'm going to polish the discs with a little metal polish and basically get it ready to function beautifully again. So again, I really don't think it's broken, but again, it's just gone many years, and it might function occasionally. You see the pin here, but like I say, when I come down with the presser foot, that pin should be moving a little more freely. So I'm going to take this apart, and as soon as I have something to show you guys, we'll turn the video back on.